Omutwe omukulu gugamba Katonda buli season abeerawo n'ekibuga ekiki oba ekifo ekiki oba eggwanga erige gyatuulamu kati n'alifuula eritukuvu. Mu nsi yonna anoonyamu ekifo kyanaagamba kino kyekifo kyange kyenaabeeramu. Ekyo kifo kiba kirina obukuumi bwa Katonda. Oyinza obutalaba mu ntalo, oyinza obutalabamu akatyabaga k'ebintu ebitambula emiriro biki, naye sigamba nti aba alitutte ng'ekintu ky'omuwendo mu maaso ge wabaako kyateekateese okukoleramu ng'asinzira omwo. Kati yeye waasinziira waba wali seefu. Naye abo ababeera mu ekyo ekifo ate be balina okulaba okusoomoozebwa abali bweru kwe bayitamu ne bamanya nti kati twetaaga kusaba ekisa eri Katonda. Kati abo ababeera ne Katonda be balina okusaba ekisa, so si bala bali mu buzibu. Omuntu ali mu kizibu si alina okusaba ekisa eri Katonda, wabula abo ate abali ne Katonda ne bafuukira abo abali mu kizibu omusana, ne babeera obuyambi obw'enkomerero. So tusomeyo Isaya 62 akatamira akasooka katunatula komukaaga nga tufunye asi.
And for Jerusalem's sake, I will not rest until the righteous go forth and righteous, and her salvation and a lamp that burns. The Gentiles shall see your righteousness.
God will never rest in the land He has chosen. When the Gentiles, those who don't know even how good God is, are not yet ready to know that He lives. It is always in the mind of God to see His people know Him. But He sets apart some. Set apart is Zion or Zion as a city, as a chosen place for those who are righteous. It's just not even a point to God, but it's just like an example that I am here. They who are righteous because of His presence must become an answer for others. So, had your wife seen right and kept silent, then you could not know that there are even people who pray for you not to have a problem in your life. But because it is a step taken, He delivers a message, but we need this. Let's go back and pray. So it is from that prayer of the understanding of God that God opens these other doors of your understanding of His word. He can do this. He can silence danger. He can silence sickness. But where it requires the salvation of individual hearts, it requires the intervention of they that must be saved. But how will they know? By sending a message of peace. He said, until they know me, I will not rest. It's those who are righteous. So Jesus summarized it in a funny way and said He did not come for the righteous. This was His summary as Jesus. He was stubborn like me. He said, I did not come for the righteous. He will not look at they who are righteous to enjoy all this glory when other people are suffering. who need the salvation of God. Even this, my funny thing I said, even if one sheep that is righteous is able to contain all the affairs of God, for God to remain happy, he will not stand with one sheep and leave the 99 suffering. So who are the 99? Those who live outside Jerusalem, a chosen city of God by that time. So it is a duty of they who know this secret, that the visitation of God calls for the understanding of those who live with God to open their hearts, not looking at how safe they dare in the presence of God. Had Jesus looked at how God lives with him, he couldn't have surrendered his life to be tortured by any man. He was able to say, let no man touch on me. And God was going to do it. But he looked at the day who will be punished only God to protect Jesus. He was going to break every design man put on the land for his son to remain happy. It is for God to protect his son, he can use anything. The reason sons of God must always call upon him when they have already calculated the danger that will affect others, not how they will be saved alone. I don't know if it's good English. I don't know if it's a good word. So, let me put it right. Verse 3. Verse 3.
You shall also be full of glory in the land of the Lord, and a royal deity in the hand of your rule. You shall no longer, verse 4, you shall no longer be found for a second, nor shall your land anymore be found desolate, but you shall be called Zephuziba, and your land Beulah, for the Lord delights in you, and your land shall be married.
So, in brief, the good word is there, that your land shall not be desolate again. I shall not destroy to zero again. Because some people have already understood that my presence can save. But they who know how God can save others, keep silent. Desolation will come back again to this land. No one knew how God can make a land desolate. He knew. To keep quiet is the information of God in his house. The purpose of why Jesus said, go spread this gospel. Why people must speak God's word to others, so that they may know what he is saying always. This Zion, this Jerusalem, this Zion in the language of Africa, was already a city loved by God. You couldn't even bring a helicopter to crash over it. But these other places were being desolated in the same season when Jerusalem is celebrating the glory of God. It was there. Until a secret came out to those prophets of that time, that the peace you see in your land, know that it is required in every land for God to be settled. The word of God is settled when even others are settled. Surely we need God's glory to be protected, and we need his love always to know how he operates. to those he hates for lack of information. Or they that have information, but they don't know how to live in it. 5 and 6. Finish.
For as a young man marries a virgin, so shall your sons marry. As a bridegroom rejoices over the bride, so shall your God rejoice over you.
If only you make others understand that his presence is peace. That his presence is love. His presence is living in his integrity. Living with him, you don't fear what people will say upon your life. You look at what he is saying as a word of power. And you stop looking at the day that are saying as answers of what you need. Because people can speak. But when you carry a word of God that is settled, you don't look at their words again. Had Moses looked at the words, people were already speaking to him. We couldn't be reading about how God saves people from trouble. But he stood at the word of God that you shall reach. My program shall not be stopped by any man on the way. These were words of power. These are words God gives you as a power to know that he is concerned upon a matter that man looks at as nothing. When you look at your life, those who saw you, when you can run from here to town without even telling the father, they never imagine it. That one day you can sit to listen to any son of God. None expected at your own times. When your wisdom was already at the level of understanding every written word of God, none couldn't expect you to be listening to this word of God again when you can read it. These are words people think are for those who don't know how to read. No. A word of God gives wisdom to those who have understanding of his ways, so that they may become pillars of his program to others. You become a hand of God to deliver a message of power to them, for it will have ever worked upon your life. Therefore, those whom you wish to have such a good thing of God, you will let them know. This is how God spread his gospel, by acting upon his words. So, verse 6 is a warning.
I have set watchmen on your roof, O Jerusalem. They shall never bear peace day or night. You who make mention of the Lord, do not keep silence.
I said it is a warning. To the watchmen who must keep the word of God, not keeping it in their house, but sending it today, that must benefit from the grace God gave them for others to understand the will of God. But what do? If a word comes, we choose for you which word you must take. Visions are subject to scrutiny of the interpreter. when they should, it is like now. You have been here for at least 10 minutes. If I ask you what you have seen, you can even leave other things you have already seen. If I ask you, by the time you came, in the first 2 minutes, what did you see? I'm asking you now. Only in 2 minutes. So that we may get a good answer. No, don't use wisdom. Use natural eyes. Chora jenga wakatuka. Chowonzi tukis. So ye charabye. Watukide. Arabye ko abana. Arabye ko ki? Nesigama gyebiriho kyekiriwo wanuwo kyokka. Si ekikoze ki? Neye kye yarabye. Kyakoze ki?